So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the reporter. This is actually going to be able to track your SEO performance and track your search everywhere performance, okay? And that's why we created the search performance index. This is a metric that's going to ultimately give you that intelligence about how you're doing across many different platforms, many different AI search services, and just search in general, okay? That's what we're going after. So a couple key things here. If you're doing just national-based keywords, you're only going to see really traditional search, AI mentions, and AI citations. But if you're doing local, I'll show you an example of this, you'll see that the local pack will pop in here as well. Okay, that's if you're doing local queries. If you're doing local, we've assigned more weight to the local pack because it's the most important thing. So the distribution of this score will change if you're doing national versus local, okay? But we'll go ahead and look at, let's actually look at this local example. So we'll click in and keep in mind, this score here is based on every single report that's in here, okay? So when we go back to Rankability, for example, the search performance index score is a broad score for all of the individual keywords combined. Okay. Now, while we're on this, you can see the advisor down here. You can click on Get Insights, and this will actually analyze the data here and give you some opportunities about ultimately improving this performance. Okay. So it's going to look specifically at the data and give you some useful insights. Okay. Just a real quick thing you can use. So we'll go into St. Louis SEO Consultant, and we're going to go ahead and look at, let's see here. We're going to go to the primary keyword here, and a couple things you want to look at here. So at a broader level, we can see obviously the SPI breakdown, and we can see that performance trend over time. Okay. And then we'll click on local. So this here is going to show you how you're performing in the local pack over time. Okay. So we can see our local pack performance. The little highlights here are highlighting any keywords that are in the business names for you or your competitors. We know that this is a very strong variable in the rank in the local pack. So this is why we want to highlight it and see like, okay, am I up against competitors that are really optimized? And if I am, it's going to be harder for me to beat them straight out of the gate. So I'm either going to have to, narrow those gaps in other ways. So I may have to get more reviews than them. I may have to get more signals, external signals than them. Or I may just have to, get a DBA to compete, right? That sometimes is the answer to that. Okay. So this is the local pack. And then down here, we do have the grid analysis that you can see. And like I said, we're going to keep adding more and more to the local tracking. But for now, this is kind of like the first version of our local tracking. Okay. Then we go to traditional search. So this is really important because we're seeing your visibility across Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, and Brave. Now you might be wondering, why would we look at these other search engines? Google has 90% of the search market share. What's the point? Okay. Well, Bing has 5% of the search market share. So it's not small, right? It still has a lot of market share. It's not like it's invisible. DuckDuckGo is very small and Brave is even smaller. Okay. But there's a very, very specific reason why we're doing this. The reason is because number one, Google is the most important. So this is actually weighted based on market domination. So you can see if you're ranking on Google, you're going to show up higher on this list. It's just the natural way it should be. Google is the dominant force. So this is weighted in that way. But we want to do this because number one, with Google is most obvious. If you rank well in Google's traditional search, we know that helps you in Google's AI products. So AI overviews in traditional search, also looking at Google's AI mode, and then also Google Gemini. Okay, so those three AI products doing well in Google greatly increases your odds of doing well in those AI products. Not a guarantee, but it certainly helps. Bing is important because we know that almost every other AI platform uses Bing. So ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, maybe even Claude as well, not entirely sure. But a lot of these platforms are now using multiple search engines to, kind of get some rich ideas. So if we want any chance of doing well in the AI platforms, we need to at least do really well in traditional search. So we've got Google, Bing, and then DuckDuckGo and Brave. Once again, that's just to cover more surface area. So we're increasing our odds of success in the AI platforms. Okay, we know that Claude uses Brave. So we want to be present there. And that's what's fascinating about this. When you start to dig into the data, you'll see that Some businesses do well on certain search engines and some don't do well, right? But what you want is this, right? This is what you want to see. You want to be present across every single one because that increases your odds of success. And then we'll look at the AI answers. Okay, this is very important. So when we look at this, we want to see, is our brand actually being mentioned in these AI responses? Okay, so we can see here, when we look at perplexity, we're being mentioned. You can see our actual brand is being recommended by the AI. That's the objective here. We want the AI to recommend us. That is the key. Okay, and so we can see here, we can see the gaps that we have on particular platforms, and then we can try to address those gaps. Okay, and this is just a really good example because you can see, even if you're doing well in traditional search with your own website, it does not guarantee performance in the AI answers. It helps, but it's not the only thing. Okay, it's not the only thing. It's one of the things, but it's obviously something you should do. Okay, and then you can measure the trend over time to see how you're performing. Okay, in these AI platforms. All right. So then the last thing here is AI citations. So you can see here that this particular website is being cited many times across kind of the core platforms. And this is good. You want your website to be cited as a retrieval source for these AI platforms. That's very good because at least you can kind of control the message. It's good. Your website, you want your website to be used as a source of retrieval. But that's not the only thing that matters. Okay, so what tends to influence the AI answers is, yes, search. It is going to search. That does matter. Doing well in search helps. But some other things that really matter is also having a presence on the top sources of retrieval across these AI platforms. Okay, so like if I want to improve if we want our brand to be mentioned more in the AI answers, I want to focus on these third-party opportunities. Okay, so we see SEMrush here, we see Clutch, we see Upwork, and any other third-party opportunities. I want to be present there, okay, because I know they're being used in retrieval. So if my brand is present there, that's going to increase my odds. That's the first part. The second part is driving reviews. So driving reviews, obviously on the Google business profile, that's very important for Google AI products, but it's not as important for the other AI platforms. So the other AI platforms rely more on third-party reviews outside of Google. So you would want to get review diversity on those other platforms, right? So you don't want to just focus on Google. You want to get that diversity across, so that way you can get maximum coverage across every AI platform, every AI surface. Okay, so if you click on reanalyze, what this will do is it's going to go and we're going to go and scrape every competitor, and then we're going to see if your brand is mentioned on these at all. Okay, and that's what we're looking at. So as you can see here, we are, like, our website's being used as a source of retrieval quite a lot. And that's a good thing. But once again, that's just one website, one URL. Okay, that's not enough. That's not enough to fully influence the AI answers. So, there's a couple options we can do here. Obviously, we'll click on opportunities, and then I'll just try to find the opportunities where we can actually get mentioned. Okay, so, like I mentioned, SEMrush, Clutch, we need to have a presence there if we want to improve performance. But there's some other techniques we can use. We could use parasite SEO, right? We could build additional rankings for this keyword. And then that allows us to influence the AI even more if we want. Okay, there's a lot of little games we can play on that front if we want, and that's a topic for another time. But at a high level, that's how the reporter works. Okay, we're going to be adding a lot more data integrations into this, Google Search Console, Google Analytics. That's all going to be coming in here into Reporter. But for now, highly recommend tracking your keywords so you can get that full coverage look, that full search performance index look, and that way you can start to act on this data.